Magik is secretly one of the best DPS in the game, even excluding other melee characters, and as she gains popularity and play rate, I want to share some of the tips I learned and used in top 500. The most important tip to get started off on this character is to practice comboing your abilities. Magik is one of the few characters in this game where animation canceling is an essential part of her kit, so every move you make with her should be paired with another ability, swing or melee. Learn her one-shot combos as well, as those are where her main threats come from in high ranks. Once you have a good rhythm and understanding of the combos, next comes making sure you're actually hitting them in game. If you can't hit your dashes or ranged abilities consistently, you will feed and lose games on this character. Just because she's melee based doesn't mean you don't have to aim. Basically, get good. The second tip I recommend is when playing this character, is learning when and how to shift the tempo of a fight. Magik is very good at applying both offensive and defensive pressure if playing correctly. On offense, her quick burst potential means at any point, if someone lets their guard down around her, the majority of the heroes under 300 HP can be one-shot. On defense, Magik's passive allows her to build overhealth to anybody she does damage to, basically making her pseudo-tank if left unchecked. The key to understanding how to play her at a fundamental level is knowing when to be patient, when to be in the enemy's backline, and when to be helping your tanks apply pressure. There are too many Magiks who think they're only supposed to dive the backline, and too many who are only focused on hitting the tank. Simply, don't play too far in the enemy backline, don't play too far in your team's backline. The beauty of Magik is her kit makes it so easy to switch between targets mid-fight and still keep up the pressure. If you're on the backline, a portal minion can cover your retreat right back to your team. If you see an opening on the enemy backline while you're fighting tanks, a quick range dash slash takes out a priority target. Learn how to shift the tempo of a fight and I promise you'll win more games. The following tips are exclusively pertain to her ult, which number 1 is to not be afraid to burn cooldown before you ult. Magik's ult resets her cooldowns, so 99% of the time it would be a complete waste to not do anything beforehand. You can dash in the air, you can portal behind, you can throw a range attack at someone before you go in for some poke. There are so many options you can do to get the most out of your ult, so try to remember that as you're playing. As a follow-up to that, remember you are not invincible during the transformation, nor during your ult. Playing slightly more aggressive is good, but don't overdo it. You don't need to int to get a kill every time. There's extra range and damage in her swings, so let her kit be an extension of her normal one. These next tips are about her counters, which are a little bit more subjective, but hear me out. There are a couple of big characters you should watch out for, specifically when you're playing Magik. Your 3 biggest counters in order are Star-Lord, Penny, and Winter Soldier. Bucky is a big counter because his hook and his grab, or push whatever you want to call it, can really interrupt the flow of your abilities. Penny is also a big counter because if the enemy backline plays on her mines, it's really hard to get the one-shot combo off in time and get out safely. So a lot of times you have to pick and choose which one you really want to do in the moment. But personally, the worst counter for me is Star-Lord. Think of him as an aerial Magik with unmatched vertical mobility. Trying to consistently hit him or catch him off guard when he can iframe your abilities and fly freely above you is beyond frustrating. As for why I didn't put the other flyers, they simply aren't as big as of a threat as they may seem to Magik. Storm shouldn't be flying super high off the ground because she gets most of her value from providing utility through damage and speed boost. If she flies high and away, her teammates aren't getting anything, and by then she's already throwing. Since she should be flying low, treat her as any other grounded 250 HP target. For Iron Man, shooting and running at the same time isn't an option for him, so most of the time if you want to throw a charge range attack at him, he's forced to either respond by running, which means he can't shoot back at you, or eat the attack, which is free ult charge for you. Teammates most of the time can and will provide the rest of the necessary pressure to finish him off. Namor is also a character who isn't as big of a counter as you think. As long as you can engage on Namor with overhealth beforehand, the squids he throws aren't nearly as big of a threat as they would be with normal dive heroes. Plus, your portal steps will eat some of the damage for you as you retreat. The final tip is more of a general rule of thumb I like to play by so I can stay up longer. Try to have at least one cooldown available at all times. All of Magik abilities can lead to overhealth, so don't burn them trying to get one kill. Thank you for listening, and in the next video I'll be covering different tips for Psylocke in top 500.